Winston's message wasn't meant for you. This isn't your fight. Papa told me after so many years of service, you gave Overwatch everything, and then they pushed you out. Why would you go back to them? What were you still fighting?
Hi guys, my name is Burb, and I want to level with you guys right from the start. This video was hard for me to make. I thought it would be easy, to be honest with you. I thought it would just be 20 minutes of me shitting all over Overwatch and saying I fucking hate everything about it. But as I went through some of the old footage of the game, some of the older clips, and especially the animated shorts, it stirred up some emotions in me, and this game makes me so melancholic. I think it's probably the word I'd use. My previous episodes have been saying that if you don't like a game, you should just stop playing it. You know, for the sake of your own mental health, for your personal enjoyment. But for me, Overwatch is that game. So for context, if it wasn't for this game, I wouldn't be sat in front of this microphone right now talking on the internet. I wouldn't have played Valorant. I wouldn't have played Rainbow Six. I probably wouldn't even have the friends that I do now. Not saying that I met my friends in Overwatch. It was more PC gaming is kind of what brought us together. But I wouldn't be playing PC if it wasn't for this game. And making of this video is kind of what brought it all back to context for me. So, for further context, in 2016, I was just a young guy working in a video game store, and a close friend of mine comes in and he's like, "Have you heard of Blizzard's new title? They brought out a shooter. It's called Overwatch. It's their first original IP in years." And he showed me the trailer, and I tried the game all the way back on PS4, and I was hooked. This was for me. For the first time in my life, I found a video game I genuinely wanted to be good at. I wanted to give it my all, and I later found out that the better and the real version of this game, if you like, was the PC version. So I did my research. I saved up for months and months to finally build my first ever PC, and it was to play this game. In those years since then, I found myself as a Masters support player in the game. I peaked at around 3.7k on the skill rating, which was Masters. So I think that was, I want to say, somewhere between the top 3, top 1%, that sort of area. And I started competing in the Overwatch Open Division, and took part in a few local tournaments. The Open Division was the highlight because, you know, something I never thought I would have ever have done in my life. Out of the 600 teams in my region that entered, we finished like 102nd or whatever. So we didn't qualify for anything, but it was still a fucking huge achievement. Later on, following the tournament, I actually turned to coaching. I think Jack Black sums this up for me quite nicely.
But anyway, I just decided to give up on myself and become a teacher, because those that can't do, teach. And those that can't teach gym. Am I right?
So yeah, I started teaching people how, like, not to just get better at Overwatch, but to get better at shooters as a whole. Overwatch was just kind of the catalyst for that, and it's still a passion I'm pursuing to this day. Which, once again, if it wasn't for this game, I wouldn't have ever considered that as a possibility. I've got Overwatch tattoos. I've got collector statues. My fiance has even like handmade artwork for me for this game, and it just turned to shit. And that's kind of a bit of what I want to talk about today. Just very quickly, I want to give a big shout out to my good friend Keen Thriker, who actually gave me the background footage because I can't go back yet. It's not time. So I wanted to start this video because it was kind of like the biggest turning point for me. So this is going to be the majority of the video, talking about the meta within Overwatch. Now, I've talked about the meta briefly in my previous episodes, and the deep dive for that is coming. And I'm going to be giving you guys my full opinions. I'm going to be attempting some comedy skits I've got in the works. The script is getting written, so hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. So keep an eye out for that, and obviously subscribe if you do want to know when that goes live straight away. But whilst the meta has its ups and downs, like it does in any game, in Overwatch you can't discuss the meta without mentioning goats. Now, for those who are unfamiliar, because fuck me, I still have PTSD of this entire year of Overwatch, or however fucking long it was. This was a team composition that consisted of Brigitte, Ryan, Zarya, Diva, and then typically a Lucio Moira. And it might be the most oppressive playstyle I think I've ever seen in a video game. This shit was fucking insane. Just the sheer amount of HP or health and sustain you had meant, from I'd probably say high diamond and above, you couldn't play DPS. It's not happening. You could not physically do enough damage to chunk through this composition, and it would just sit itself on an objective and be like, come at me. Because what the fuck are you going to do against that? I think a great clip of it, because it was even affecting Owl, because Owl being the Overwatch League, so the absolute high-end competitive of Overwatch, was even affecting them because this shit was not good to watch at all. I'm just going to include a quite famous clip here of a team that wanted to come out not running goats, saw the enemy team running it, and just went, nah, it's not worth it. And they just get booed because they don't even attempt it, and that's sad. So
they come through, split the Outlaws up, win that fight without ultimates. We do see the Outlaws are going to pull out Dante's Tracer. This has been some of the things that Outlaws fans have been waiting for, is a good Tracer player on Houston. It's Jake on the far. This combo's worked well for them before, but as soon as they see the defensive setup, they will just simply swap it away. Crucial time lost here for the Outlaws.
I'm just letting the fan.
But this led to the creation of Roll-Lock. Now, Roll-Lock was forcing players to go 2 DPS, 2 tanks, and 2 supports. Now, regardless of what people might say about this was brought in because no matter what Blizzard did, they could not stop goats. The only way to truly kill it was to stop people running 3 tanks and 3 supports. It was the only way they could actually bring it down, which kind of led to its other problem of all of the characters that were buffed to try and counter goats now had a power creep issue because they were designed to try and stop goats, and they started running rampant, which was a whole issue within of itself. So this kind of led me to the question, what does Overwatch want to be? Like, is Overwatch a casual experience that, you know, anyone can just pick up and play, or is it a competitive shooter? Like, which one do you want to be? Because you've got stuff like the Overwatch League, but then your patch notes, particularly in my era of playing, where Overwatch had a really bad habit of buffing low skill. Hi guys, Editor Burb here. Just wanted to make a quick point of, I was forewarned about what was in the text chat when I first received the footage, and I was kind of contemplating on whether or not to leave it in or blur it out. I kind of made the decision ultimately to leave it in because I'm hoping to do a full video on toxicity in video games in general, but this is kind of the shit. This just goes to show the kind of shit that you have to put up with in Overwatch. And I know it might be relatively tame compared to other games, but it's still not okay, and this shit really doesn't belong here. Yeah, that was. I just wanted to make a quick point of that about why I left it in. Anyway, back to the video. High reward characters such as your Roadhogs and your Moiras, but then nerfing your characters that had like an insane skill ceiling and insane feats could be completed with them, like your Annas and your Genjis, because they were just a bit oppressive. Well, I'm not being funny. If you put the time into that kind of character, absolutely, because to get a fraction of the value that a Moira provides by holding left click as Anna, I can't miss. I have to manage my cooldowns. I have to think about positioning. Whereas you've got Moira who's just like, lol, I'm just going to hold left click and teleport away. Like, okay, what? I don't get it, but especially with the announcement from Xbox talking about the new season, I did take a glance over the new season patch notes, and it's still a problem. I'm just going to highlight here just one of them where, so for those who don't know, Roadhog is just a massive fat dude, the best way I could explain it, who can hook people in and one-shot them. That's his jam. So he punishes poor positioning. But you've now got a dude with 600 health that has a healing ability that now not only heals 300 of that 600 health, he now could also get healed for an extra 50%. Okay, it's only for 2.5 seconds. That's more than enough. Like, you burn all of your utility trying to shut this tank down, and he's just like, lol, I'm just going to press one button and have my support hit me once and I'm full HP. Unlucky. Like, fucking, really? I can't believe that this is still a problem. It boggles me completely. But, like, a few years ago, obviously when Jeff Kaplan who was the one of the main guys for Overwatch, huge shout out to Jeff. That guy was awesome in every way. The fact that he had the balls to go and stand in front of this community and explain their reasoning in his dev updates were awesome. Can't shout out to him enough. He doesn't work there anymore, but you know, there it is. But Overwatch 2 was announced with this trailer.
Victory is ours, my friends!
Hi, Lena. Brigitte? Oh my gosh, you've grown! Oh, everyone, this is May. Hi, everyone.
Nice to meet you.
Reinhardt.
Good to have you on board.
Thank you.
Monsieur, does this mean Overwatch is back?
Yes. Yes, we are.
After seeing that, I was like, holy shit. And I was optimistic. I was like, okay, so they've done this. They removed like crowd control, which is your stuns and your freezing, which kind of stops you from being able to actually use your character. I think just to kind of show you how bad this truly got, I did manage to find the aimbot Calvin clip, who was a streamer, and I think he was pro for a bit as well. Just this clip sums it up massively of how bad it actually got.
Dude, oh my done with my...
So with taking that out, you're then saying that we're going to get a PvE or player versus everyone game mode. We're going to get a fully fleshed out story. We're getting skill trees, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I will give you the benefit of the doubt. It seems like you've learnt your lesson. I'm good. Let's do this. And then we come to today, and in case you didn't know, the PvE has been cancelled. It's been completely scrapped. They've basically said now, yeah, it's not happening, and it's now going to be split into sprinklings here and there throughout the seasons. And if that's the case, what was? And I know it's been said by a few other YouTubers as well, but then it's like, what was the fucking point of the sequel? Like, you can't change your game to a 5v5 and give players their first meaningful patch, and I think it was about 2 years the content died for, and call it a fucking sequel. This is by far one of the biggest insults I think I've ever seen. It's a disgrace, and I can't believe that they're okay with that. Now, I know obviously they're justifying it by saying, we want to put our focus back onto PvP, and we realize we've got something special there. For me, it's a little too late. But if you're gonna do this, you've got to commit. You have to commit to this, because as I said before, Overwatch's identity crisis is such a huge problem. I think, especially, it's worth mentioning as well that with the 5v5 in the big patch, they also removed all the loot boxes. And I was like, okay, you took out loot boxes, that's a good thing. But now you're charging me for the skin. And I got Keen Thracker just to do me a quick overview of the store. And as you can see here, it's like, what, 17 to 20 pounds, or dollars if you're American, for most of the time a recoloring. It doesn't affect, like, people get Valorant shit, right, for having expensive skins, but at least if I drop 20 quid on a skin in Valorant, I get my gun skin, I get my weapon traces, I get my finisher animation, I get my reload animation, I get my inspect animation. It fundamentally changes the way the game plays for me, and I'm more than happy to support that. But this for a fucking reskin? Are you shitting me? Yeah, I did play the launch of Overwatch 2, and I think it took, I want to say, a month before once again the identity crisis just sets back in, and I just could not bring myself to stick with it anymore. So I quit again. And then since then, you've now got the introduction of characters like Lifeweaver. So I'm just going to put a picture up here. Now, obviously, I've not played as him, and I think I've heard within the community that he's actually quite bad. But his main gimmicky thing, if you like, is he has a ability on a 20-second cooldown, soon to be a 16-second cooldown, where he pulls a teammate, quote unquote, back to safety. And as soon as I saw that as a mechanic, I'm like, nah, you can't do that. Like, if you've got, especially in like your lower ranks and stuff, you get, for example, with your tanks, you get two types of tanks. You get tanks that are too scared to push or go anywhere, and then you get tanks that do their job, and they will take the space and they will give you the room you need to work. And if you piss off your support, he's just like, nope, you're coming back to the team. Like, no, I'm not. I can't get behind a character that removes my control of the game. I thought the point of removing crowd control abilities like stuns and freezes was to stop that from happening. So who thought that was a good idea? I don't know. Like I say, I've not played him. It might not be as bad in game, but as soon as I saw that, I see what you're trying to do, but nah, it's definitely not for me. I mean, along with this, I also saw that this same character in the next season patch has got, I think, 8 flat number buffs. So his heals are going up, his damage is going up, his cooldowns are coming down, and it's like, this this isn't okay. Like, okay, he might not be good or strong or something like that at the moment, but when you do this kind of just flat number buffs to a character, all it'd take is a couple of minor changes to the characters around him, and suddenly he becomes a problem, which then loops back around into this power creep issue. And like I say, I'm not a game dev. I don't fully know how you avoid it, but there's got to be a better way than this. And just sort of dipping back into these patch notes, you've got that May can now slow people up to 75% again, and then causes like a freeze explosion kind of shit. And you've got Cassidy, who now has a bomb that can track to you and then stops you using your movement abilities. So one of the big points of Overwatch 2 was we're removing crowd control, and we're going to make it because you should not be in control of your never not be in control of your character, and that's what people want. I can even compare this to for those of you who played Rainbow Six, there is a character called Ela who sticks these like fucking sticky concussive things onto surfaces. And it used to be that when you got hit by one, it was like a Call of Duty stun where you struggle to turn and things like that. But now they went, that's not fun for anyone. So you can now keep full control of your gun. It's just going to distort your vision. And I figured that that was going to be the idea with Overwatch of it's not fun or makes a lot of sense for you to lose control of your character. And with these mechanics coming back, I don't understand. Like, Blizzard are notoriously stubborn for not going back on changes. So if all the changes you've made, why would you go back on this one? This is the one I don't understand. But, you know, I'm trying to keep this one a lot shorter because I could go on a huge rant, and this could become a multi-part thing of me nitpicking every tiny little detail because I played this game at a high level, and the passion I had for this game was unlike anything in the digital space, I should say, anything I'd ever felt. And it just makes me sad to even think about what this game was to what it's become now. So I just want to finalize this and just sort of say, on the extremely, and I mean extremely unlikely event that anyone from Blizzard or any sort of bigger Overwatch community member is watching this, I just want you to know you have a special franchise here. You have such a wonderful world that you can play with, and I feel like the mishandling of it is a huge shame. Like, the animated shorts that were made for this game are some of the best bits of content I've ever seen. Like, I used to show them to my fiance and say, you know, look at this. And even she, who's never had an interest in this game in any way, shape, or form, was like into the lore and was like, oh, that's really good. I can't believe it. It can make people want to play the game. It can stir up these great emotions in them. But I just want to say, please, please, just decide what you want this game to be. If Blizzard comes out tomorrow or 6 months time or whenever and says we're not doing competitive anymore, there'll still be a ranked ladder for those who want to do it, but we're not balancing around it with that in mind. We just want a game where it's a multiplayer show where people can have fun, or vice versa. And they went, right, we're doing this as the sweatiest shooter MOBA hybrid ever created, and that's what we are now. Just make a decision, because I, for one, would definitely come back, and I'm sure loads of other players would as well. It's just sad because once again you've got this wonderful, but at the same time irritatingly shit game that I want to be good, and it just always seems to find a way to disappoint me. So I just want to end this not with my usual outro, but just the end of the Reinhardt short, because it sums up my feelings towards this game perfectly in the same way that my introduction did as well. Because at the end of the day, if this game decided what it truly wanted to be and they fixed it that way,
I have been called. I must answer.